5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're in the right place. Online, on the web, and on air. All over the world.
Talk radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I am recording, John, don't worry. I hit it early, so, oh dear. Good evening and welcome back to another show. Nice to hear you all counting down with us. Don't forget, you are our eyes and ears, so make sure you can hear everything. If you do have any problems with the live stream, please remember that it is an American-based program, and all you need to do is hopefully just refresh, and hopefully they won't decide to do any updates while we're live on the show, especially tonight, because it's going to be quite interesting, I think. Don't you, Steve?
Well, if they do, we'll have a word with Uri. See if he can sort them out for us.
Yeah, so as I say, tonight is going to be a weird one tonight. We've got Uri Geller coming on the phone with us tonight. So and it's been quite a bit of a buzz around Facebook. So I don't know whether anybody.
Well, they will. We'll just see how many people are going to join us tonight.
Yeah, this is it. So.
Well, at the moment, we have Andy 707.
Woohoo! Good old Andy.
We have M-Pig, that's Doc in Minnesota.
Yep.
And Rent a Ghost down there in wet and windy Norfolk.
We've got more than that on there listening, as I can see.
We have 8 viewers. Please join us in the chat room.
Yeah, and then you can also pitch your questions to Uri when he comes on at 9 o'clock, can't they? So, well, we've had Still Amazed he's coming on. Well done for getting him on. I've been getting a lot of that today, I'll be honest with you. One of my associates down in Devon, Alex from Paranormal Addiction Radio, he should be listening in tonight. He wants to get him on the show, so he's going to contact him. And one person on Facebook said, and I will quote what she said. Are you ready for this? She said, I tell you what, honey, you get some right stars on your radio show. Fab work, love. Keep up the fab work. So, and that was from Jenny Bryant from GC UK, and she'll be coming on talking to us about her group down in or up in wherever they are in February sometime.
I think they're up towards Hallway.
Yes, and we've got Reiki Debs, as you say. Good evening, Reiki Debs.
Yeah, Debs has just come in, which means
and
Lee's in the background there somewhere.
Yep. So don't forget, if you are listening, don't be in the shadows. I know most of you are ghost hunters, but you don't have to stay in the shadows on this show. So why don't you come on in and to the chat room and join the fun? And Lee says hello too. So why don't you come in and join the fun, because that's what it's all about. And you will find that when we're waffling, sometimes they end up talking amongst themselves in the chat room, don't they?
Yeah.
About all sorts of things.
I don't know what that says about us waffling.
Well, this is it. So, excuse me while I have a drink. Cheers, everyone. But while I'm relaxing for a minute, I'm still waking up because I had a bit of a nap, didn't I? So
you did.
But I'll hand over to you with the observations.
Okie dokie then. Leonardo DiCaprio's house may or may not be haunted.
Ooh.
According to the actor, the house makes strange sounds in the middle of the night. The star told UK TV show Lorraine Today that he doesn't even believe in ghosts. Okay. My home makes weird noises at times, and I have to get up in the middle of the night and check there's somebody in case there's somebody breaking in, DiCaprio said. I don't know, it's like creaking or something. It's weird ghost noises. But I don't believe in ghosts, so it's like wind or the way it's built, he said about the house. Excuse me, the 39-year-old celebrity said he gets terrified sometimes when he hears strange noises in his house. And he doesn't believe his home is haunted, however, because he doesn't believe in ghosts. Is that somebody trying to convince himself
I don't know.
that he doesn't believe in ghosts?
So,
Okay.
be one question we'll be asking Uri Geller.
I don't think we need to ask him that one.
Okay.
Here's one to get you thinking about. Scientists claim that the quantum theory proves consciousness moves to another universe after death. A book titled Biocentrism, how life and consciousness are the keys to understanding the nature of the universe. It stirred up a bit of a nest on the internet because it contains a notion that life does not end when the body dies and it can last forever. The theory implies that death and consciousness simply does not exist. It only exists as a thought because people identify themselves with their body. They believe that the body is going to perish sooner or later, thinking their consciousness will disappear too. If the body generates consciousness, then consciousness dies when the body dies. But if the body receives consciousness in the same way that a cable box receives satellite signals, then of course the consciousness does not die at the death of the physical body. Well, isn't that what mediums and that have been saying for centuries? There you go. Now I know Andy's into this one, but I haven't been able to find the actual article. But this was in Soldier of Fortune. The current issue of Soldier of Fortune magazine, they've dated it February the 14th, which seems strange, contains an article called UFO Mystery Solved, Mothman. There were actually Green Berets. The writer Harold Hutchinson claims that special forces near Point Pleasant were testing high-altitude, low-opening halo parachuting for use in Vietnam, and the jumpers used luminous paint to be seen during the tests. And this, he says, explains the Mothman sighting. Well, I'm not convinced that every Mothman report can be chalked up to a paratrooper, but it's a plausible explanation for some, and certainly some of the UFO reports. There's a lot going on Point Pleasant that year, but like I say, I can't actually find the article, and I won't repeat what Andy's just put.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
Fate of the Ark of the Covenant revealed in the Hebrew text. Now, this is written by Owen Jarrah from is a Live Science contributor in the January 7th. A newly translated Hebrew text to reveal the treasures from King Solomon's temple were hidden and discusses the fate of the Ark of the Covenant itself. But unlike the Indiana Jones movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, the text leaves the exact location of the Ark unclear and states that it is and the other treasures shall not be revealed until the day of the coming of the Messiah, son of David. Putting it out of reach of any would-be treasure seeker, King Solomon's temple is also called the first temple and was plundered and torched by the Babylonian king. Are you ready for this? Nebuchadnezzar II.
Nezha.
In the 6th century BC. According to the Hebrew Bible, the Ark of the Covenant is a chest that, when originally built, was said to hold the tablets containing the Ten Commandments. It was housed in Solomon's temple, a place that contained many different treasures. Might as well be Area 51, he said.
Not far off, he said.
Okay. Called an all exorcist out there. You are wanted in Malta.
All right.
After a spike in devil worship practicing. The Catholic Church is training more priests to be able to carry out exorcisms, including apparently in Malta, where a spike in devil worship practices has caused concern among Catholics. In a bid to address a growth in occult worship, international media are reporting, according to the Daily Beast,
Oh, yeah.
There's a name for you.
Daily
For training programs to train priests seeking to perform exorcisms have been launched in Italy, Spain, and Malta. Friar Vincenzo Tavarelli, a 76-year-old Rome-based priest, has been carrying out exorcisms for the past 50 years, and he has trained hundreds of priests to perform the rites. Is one of the priests involved in the new training program launched in Italy. Deep breath. His services are in great demand. He performs up to 100 exorcisms in some weeks, even though he concedes that the need for an exorcism is actually very rare. Is that rare? Why is he doing so many? However, the Catholic Church is also seeking to address quality control and put an end to what Friar Tavarelli describes as a dangerous practice of exorcism by untrained novices. Perhaps the most popular perception is of The Exorcist due to the base 1973 horror film The Exorcist, but actually Exorcist often emphasizes that the rite is not quite as sensational as people may believe. Friar Tavarelli explains that the Church is very clear in the rite, pointing out that the person requesting an exorcism must be seen by medical professionals to ensure that what is perceived to be demonic possession is not mental illness, which may present some of these symptoms, which I'm sure Andy would agree with there. But as we all know, the mind's a very powerful thing, if you believe enough.
Well, this is it. Reiki devs turned around and said it's simple, stop believing in the devil. But then again, there's always a mirror image of something, they say, don't they?
There is.
Whether it be Earth, God, devil, Jesus, whatever.
It is. The thing is, if you're a Catholic, I mean, I'm not particularly a church-going person, and I'm not a Catholic.
No.
But it's drummed into you, these things, from a very early age.
Yeah.
And it's probably the same in all churches, but you've only got to believe in something to. It's the fear factor, isn't it?
Don't mind me. It's too many wine gums.
What on earth is he talking about now? I don't know, mate. I never did. Is Afflecks Palace haunted?
Yay! I've asked them.
Shop owners claim poltergeist, time warps, and ghostly guest haunt the Emporium. Legendary Manchester shopping emporium Afflecks has been many famous shoppers over the years, but its patronage doesn't end with the purveyors of electronic curiosities. It seems that it also enjoys visitors from the other side. Well, we've been to Afflecks Palace, haven't we, babe?
Yeah.
And it does have an atmosphere.
It does.
And you do get a feeling of being watched. Although I did think that they've actually moved from the old place to where they are.
I don't know. They were going on about it, weren't they?
They were talking about shifting it.
Perhaps they won the fight.
Well, here we go. I'm going to end with a few predictions for 2014.
Go on then.
And a haste to age, they're not my predictions.
No.
Okay. A gentleman called Lamont Hamilton. Start with him. He says he starts with an electrical fire he's seen in the new NASA collection center in Utah that will be linked to sabotage. Yeah. A discovery that diseases can be transmitted or transferred by pure thought from one location to another will be found. And scientists will discover and prove that we live in an identical twin universe that's the mirror opposite of ours. I hesitate, this is just a few. I'm not doing all that, I'll be here all night otherwise. A lady called Julie Heavenly. And there's a name for you. Our first one's not that hard to think. I think Brazil wins the World Cup. So it's being held in Brazil, and I think they are favourites. New storms and quakes in the South Pacific, Southeast Asia. Hillary to announce her run for presidency in mid-year. And new privacy protection rules become law as proposed US-European Union trade deal. And she reckons it's the last year of our Queen. She reckons she won't reign after this year. I assume she means she's going to stand down. I do hesitate that most of these are from the US. A young lady called Nikki. She said contamination of water in major cities. A giant sinkhole in Egypt. Trouble around the pyramids in which they may sink. Another marathon tragedy. Riots at a sports stadium in Brazil. A flood in London, England underground. Giant earthquake, Palm Springs, California, earthquakes in Los Angeles and San Francisco. A fire and explosion at a subway in New York City kills many. Chemical attack on the United States, and another cruise ship breaks in half. They're just a few of the predictions for this year.
So we'll have to see what happens.
I think when I looked, I think they had about 20 or 30 predictions each.
Well, this is it.
So,
is that the end of your observations?
It is indeed.
Right, well, thanks for that, Steve. I don't know what you lot felt with that lot, but we'll see what happens. Right, okay, guys. Andy said, oh, happy days.
I think it's already up on that one, John.
Basically, there has been some very unusual headlines in the news this week. One of the headlines is that hell froze over. And if any of you aren't sure what hell is, it's not that place below ground, or it's supposed to be below ground. It's actually a place in America. So to be quite direct, it's a place in Michigan, and it actually fell below freezing. They've even got a set of gates that says the gates of hell. And just to follow on with that, with a bit of a pun, with hell freezing over, there was actually flooding at Purley, not the Purley Gates, but Purley on Thames. Residents were angry over floods, defence delays.
Yeah, so, I think I made that joke about the Pearly Gates, didn't I?
Yeah, Steve said hell freezes over and it's flooding at Pearly Gates.
Well, did you check your emails before you come on?
No, I didn't. Why?
You didn't.
Do you want me to now?
No, I can tell you. I've got it up here.
Oh, go on then.
Hello, I've seen your post with regards to the interview with Uri Geller recently. I wondered if you'd be interested in telling your listeners about us.
They
have a new book called Paranormal Intruder. It's shot straight to #1 in all 3 categories in the UK, and #1 in the supernatural category in the US. Please feel free to visit our Amazon page and website below for full description of our book.
It's funny you should say that. I had one earlier in the week from a Pablo Solares. He's a Spanish writer. And he said by mid-February he will be releasing his first novel, the 6th of November. The story concerns Gloria Suarez, a young woman who marries and flees to a village called, Recuerdo, or something like that, on the north of Spain due to family problems. Soon later, she gives birth to Maria, but when the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, starts, her husband and her child vanish without trace. 3 years later, an unexpected host helps her to find the truth. It is an horror story about ghosts in an old village of Spain. I think it might be an interesting topic for your show. So there's 2 there that we can probably bring on. And talking about books,
we are getting a lot of authors coming to us.
We are. Next week, just to let you know, we have Stephanie coming on. She's going to be talking to us about her book, The House on Pulteney Road. And that particular book is all about true stories, I'm assuming, that happened at Pulteney. So we'll be looking forward to finding out more about that. So, yeah, we'll be getting quite a few people. As I said last week, it's nice when people want to return as well. D.A. Roberts wants to come back. He's got a new book coming out about his zombies rising up. So, it is good when it's like even the young lady we had on last week, Amy Vickers, she contacted us and wanted to come back on the show. I love it. It just goes to prove that we're doing something right. So, but as I say, it's not too bad at all. We're just looking on the chat room at the moment. Susie Q's in. She said Jamie's trying to get something. I'm assuming him.
Yeah.
So some people are having problems getting in. I don't know why they have problems. We have a lot of people who say they have problems getting in, don't they? So, but it must be their settings. Perhaps they've got their settings wrong.
I tell you what, if Doc hasn't got the flu, he soon will have. It's -52 last week. It's 40 Fahrenheit this week.
And then it's going back to freezing
going back in the freezer again.
I don't know. So, well, as I say, 9 o'clock, we have a young man coming on, Uri Geller. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to see the programme, but Steve did, and he sorted out some questions for me to ask him. But I'm really hoping that you lot out there will be asking questions as well. So I'm going to find out a bit about him himself as a man, who he actually is. Young man. Well, yeah, you have to be polite in this day and age. How do you think I get people on? So, but as I say, it's basically going to be a really good show. So hopefully, she says. What do you think, Steve?
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah. So I must admit, people say to me, "How do you get these people on?" I surprise myself at times. I really do.
Well, the first thing to do is just ask.
Yeah. They can only say no at the
Most
end
of the time, people don't ask because they're scared of people saying no.
Yeah. So I've had a few no's, I must admit.
Yeah.
And I've just said, okay, I'm sorry to have bothered you.
And
So
keep going.
David Icke still hasn't got back to me. So somebody was asking last week.
Yeah.
So, but
might have to find out where he lives and knock on his door and say, "Excuse me, can you answer your emails, please?"
Yeah. So, but some of these people are quite busy, and maybe a little thing like ours, because we're not a radio show. People do get
Yes,
confused.
we are.
We're not as such. We're an online thing, you know. So, you know, but we're an online show, really, aren't we? We're not a commercial thing. We're just a group of people that get together each week, and we just happen to have people on the show that talk about that certain subject.
We produce an interesting talk show.
Yeah, well, I'll try and make it interesting.
I've been looking at the viewers here. The people are popping in, popping out. I think they're waiting for Uri because it went up to 13. Now it's back to 9.
But I'll be honest with you, we have had a few remarks when I've noticed. You know, some people, even that, you know, when I've gone to approve any comments that have come through on the YouTube ones, guests were great, but the interviewers were crap. Mind you, that was our very first show. I must admit that was our first show, and we were nervous that first show, weren't we?
Oh dear, he says. Well, at the end of the day, if we get your questions out there and you enjoy the guest, does it really matter what we're like?
You've been told that many times that I'm rubbish. Thank you, Doc.
No, I think he means himself.
I know what he means. Right, well, let's play this and get this out of the way.
And then we can
watch your ears.
Contact Uri.
The Paranormal Intelligence Gathering Services Ghost Store is a one-stop shop for all of your ghost hunting gadgetry needs. Run by ghost hunters for ghost hunters, the shop is filled with all of the latest in investigation equipment, shipped in from all around the world, from high-quality digital dictaphones to EMF pumps, infrared illuminators to laser grid pens, CCTV equipment to data loggers. All of our equipment has already been imported, so you can buy it safe in the knowledge that there will be no hidden costs. And with our postage promise, you'll never pay more than the actual postage price. So visit www.the-pigs.co.uk/ghost store.
Manners. I thought they were quite good on the end of that. Manners. I don't know. So I hope everybody's okay this week. We've not done much this week, have we? Oh yes, we did. We went to Wrexham, didn't we?
We did. We went to Pennyland.
Pennyland. That's a very interesting place, and we've actually booked it from September.
We have.
So, lovely building, lovely stately home. That's the second privately owned one we've actually booked. So, you know, but, so if there's any paranormal investigators in the area, why didn't you contact them?
Not Penny Lane.
Not Penny Lane. Pen, Y,
Lan.
Lan. I'll write it for you.
How you're going to do it? Okay.
Yeah. Pen.
You type quicker than I do.
Lan. Oh, there you go. Normally it's got hyphens in, but sometimes it hasn't. So very nice place. Nice place. It's classed as a stately home, and it's a private home.
It's square.
It's a square.
It's a big square.
Yeah, it's a square. It never used to be a square, though.
No, it didn't. There's a lot of it that's now missing. I think it started out as a square, and then the Victorians got hold of it and made it bigger.
And there's an old Roman road that runs by the side of the stream.
Yep, and then the added bit got taken off again.
There's a lot of original foundations there.
Yeah, well, we were looking out the window at the courtyard, and we could actually see the tiles that used to be in the house.
Yeah, in the kitchen area. So.
Yeah, they're still out there. And so they just.
And it's one of them places that have got back stairs as well as front stairs, and that they actually, you know, sooner or later you end up meeting in the. You know, going up the back stairs and coming down the front stairs sort of thing, and vice versa. It looks really good. Lots of servants' places, as you said, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And stables and clock towers, but you can't go up there.
It was very muddy at the time when we were there, because it was hissing down at the time.
Yes, it was hissing, sidding. So, but yeah. The other
Don't say that. Every time you say that, I have the urge to say it, and I don't want to.
What about swallowing toad?
Yeah.
But before Christmas, we went to another home, didn't we? A privately owned home, which was Saltmarsh, which is in the Gaul area, in between Gaul and Doncaster.
And we're going there in May.
April.
End of April.
Yeah, we're going back to the Norsham Park Sanitarium in May.
In May, yes, that's right.
So, but we seem to be picking up privately owned places at the moment, don't we?
We do.
So, which is good.
Yeah.
New locations is what we need.
Saltmarsh, we've got a little bit of the house that they live in, and then we've got a whole wing.
Yes.
That was mainly servants' quarters and that.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
It does.
So, but
still got
cellars and
the old rickety beds in that.
Laundry area, and there is an old rickety bed in there, isn't there, as well?
Yeah, there is in one, yeah.
Old fireplace. You've got the grounds and stuff like that.
Yep.
Looks really cool. So
stables, and then we've got the outside house, the lodge that we'll be holding a hub in that one.
So all good fun.
It is.
So
it is.
You know, but we're taking a break from paranormal investigating for a while.
Yeah.
We have got a team one in February. That's if they don't decide to change dates again, because they did last time. So, but I think the team need a rest, you know, not just for Christmas.
I think they do, but at the same point, if anybody wants to join us at the museum in Manchester, the old Transport Museum, it's a lovely place. Please do. Because I think we don't take a lot of people there,
No.
but I think it's just as well. I think most of our team are actually working all away.
This is it. So, right, I suppose I better ring this guy up.
Yes, ring Mr. Geller up.
I'm actually dreading this. I think I'm dreading this more than I did when I first rang up Ben Hansen.
Why don't we all think Uri and get him to ring us?
It'd be cheaper on the phone bill, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it just?
Okay, so I don't know where I'm ringing.
You're ringing.
Is it? It's not Birmingham, is it?
No, it's not. He's at home,
I know, but I don't know.
Alongside the Thames.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Let me see if I can find where it is. Oh, it's Reading.
Who knew Reading was on the Thames? Here we go.
So he's there.
Well, you did remind him.
Hello, could I speak to Mr. Uri Geller, please? Thank you.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hi, who is this?
This is Suzanne Taggart from the...
Yes, hi Susan, hi.
How are you? This is the KTPF Community Talk Show.
Okay.
Okay, you are live on air.
Alright, and
Okay.
tell me Susan, how many minutes do you want to keep me on air?
Oh, as long as you can spare me, please.
Where are you based?
We're actually in Manchester.
Okay, so I'm sending my love to everyone in Manchester and the area.
Okay, and we've got a lot of people in the chat room tonight from all over England and also from America in Minnesota.
Okay.
All right.
They're all welcome to talk to me, ask me whatever they want to.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for taking time to talk to us.
You're welcome.
I know you've got a busy schedule.
Yep.
Okay. Now, first of all, can I call you Uri?
Of course. The actual pronunciation of my name is Uri.
Uri.
Uri is a Hebrew name. It's actually an ancient name, and it means my light, Uri. And it's interesting because the Hebrew language is one of the only languages in the world that hasn't really changed. You still talk Hebrew the way the ancient Israelites talked 5,000 years ago, also writing-wise.
Right. Interesting.
If you didn't know that.
No, I didn't, I'm afraid. What I wanted to ask you first of all, before we actually got into the other stuff that you do, is I want to ask you about yourself. Who is Uri Geller the man?
Well, I'm just a kind of down-to-earth, very ordinary, simple person who, out of necessity, when I was a child, I wanted to be successful because we were very poor. My mother was a seamstress and a waitress. My father kind of left home, and I knew that I had to make it. I am very much a motivator. I'm a spiritual individual. I believe in everything and anything out there. There's no doubt in my mind that everything that our imagination can imagine will happen or is happening or has happened in the universe. And I'm a showman, I'm an entertainer. I've entertained millions, maybe tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of people around the world in the last 4 decades with my television shows, radio, books, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm today I do what I love doing, and that is continuing my TV shows worldwide. I created a show called The Next Uri Geller, and it's a format, and it has been already in 15 countries. The next place it's going to go to China. I'm a family person. I have 2 children. I love dogs, and I live in a small village outside London.
Oh, right. Okay. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I've already got a couple of questions coming in already. But first of all, it's now known that you was or are a psychic spy. What made you take that route?
Well, can you just explain me, Susan, now that I'm on the air with you, can this be heard actually?
Yes.
Okay, so it's heard on the internet worldwide.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can say what you can say, what you can't say. Obviously, you can keep to yourself.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
How widespread your program is. But nevertheless, when I was about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, I loved the biblical lessons, scriptures, and so forth. And there is a story in the Bible about Moses sending 11 spies to Canaan to spy and to find out how the land looks, what the people do, what kind of work there is there, how rich the land is. And these spies went to spy and came back with information. And actually, one of the most important symbols in Israel today is 2 people carrying a huge bunch of grapes, and those were the spies. And I was very much intrigued by that world. As a child, I used to go to see spy films, war movies, and so on. When my parents divorced, my mother took me to Cyprus, and my stepfather unfortunately died from a heart attack, and he left my mother and me a tiny bed and breakfast hotel which he ran. And that little bed and breakfast establishment became a Mossad safe house, simply because the Israelis found out that we are from Israel, and they thought that would be a great place to lodge spies. And there was the first person that I encountered, was an Israeli Mossad spy agent called Yoav Shaham. And I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I confronted him, and I said, Yoav, you are a spy, aren't you? I kind of read his mind. He was absolutely shocked. And my first missions, believe it or not, was when I was about 13 years old. He told me that I will be getting letters from Arabic countries, and my task would be to jump on my bicycle and cycle them to Israeli embassy and hand them over to the consul. And I loved it. It was so intriguing, and it kind of shot me into the movies that I was seeing. So that ignited this quest of becoming a spy, and he told me that he will get me into the Mossad when I finish my army service. So that's how it all started.
I see. And
let me just add that the reason you're asking these questions is that recently the BBC produced a documentary about this side of my life. It's called The Secret Life of Uri Geller. And anyone listening to us, you're more than welcome to view this documentary. It's on my homepage, on my website, which is urigeller.com. It's free to watch. And the book came out after the documentary by Jonathan Margolis, who writes for the Financial Times and very prestigious British publications, including Time magazine. And the book is just mind-boggling and kind of scary. When I read it, I thought, oh my gosh, what have I let myself into? And this is why all these stories started popping out, that I had a double life.
Yeah, I see. Now, you class yourself as a psychic. Now, are we talking about a psychic, medium type psychic? And where do you think your gift comes from?
I'm not a medium.
Right.
I do not speak to the dead.
Okay.
Although I do believe in the afterlife.
Okay.
There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that there is a life after death, and I can just give you a very simple scientific explanation to why I believe this. It is because in 1924, Albert Einstein came out with a riveting equation, which we all remember from school, E equals mc square.
Yeah.
With this equation, Albert Einstein proved scientifically that everything in the universe is made from energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. So even the phone I'm holding, or if you have a table or the wall in front of you, if you bang your hand against the wall, to you it feels solid, but it's not solid. It is actually energy. And you must then ask the question, well, hang on, if you die, and when we die, what happens to our energy? What happens to our body? What happens to our soul? What happens to our spirit if we are made from energy, and energy cannot be destroyed? So that's why I'm such a huge believer in the beyond life.
Right. Have you ever had any proof of it? Have you ever seen anything at all?
I have seen a few times ghosts.
Okay.
And and it blew my mind. I just knew that it was real what I was seeing. I'll tell you the most amazing one. My mother, God bless her, passed away about 8 years ago. She was 91. And because we're Jewish, I had to get permission to bury her in the local village churchyard from the rabbi and from the vicar. So we got the permission and we buried her, and I had to create a tombstone for her. And my local rabbi introduced me to a tombstone maker, to a mason who does marble work. He came one Sunday morning to show me pieces of different granites and marble for me to choose which tombstone I would like my mother to have. For some strange reason, I did not open the gate for him of our property. And I said to him in the intercom, "Wait in your car, I'm coming out to you." As I was walking up the path towards the big iron gates, which you can see through, I saw him sitting in the car with his lovely dog sitting next to him. And when I saw the dog, I knew that this is a good man. Because remember, I told you I'm a dog lover. And anyone who loves dogs and cats or any animals, they're just good people. So I get up to the gate, and the dog is next to him. It was a white, blackish mixed terrier. And then I press the keypad to open the side gate so I can get out. So I opened the side gate and I walked towards this car, which was only 2 meters away from me. And my instinct was to go to the dog first and pat the dog. So I walked over to the passenger side. I look into the car and there is no dog. So I tell this man to roll down his window. And I put my head in the car and look around, and there's absolutely no dog there. And I tell him, "Where is the dog? I mean, where is he? I just saw your dog." And his face ashened. He said to me, "Mr. Geller, I'm shocked because my dog died 6 months ago, and I used to drive with him everywhere, and that's where he sat." I was so stunned. Because, I've never actually seen a ghost so vividly that I just left the car, ran back to the house to tell my wife, Hannah, what I've just seen. And I realized that my mother probably arranged for this encounter. Anyhow, I don't want to go on rumbling, but that's my most classical ghost story.
Okay, that sounds good, that one. Now, before I carry on with your psychic spy life, I've got a question in the chat room for you from Mank Hypno Man. He would like to ask, you mentioned your Phenomenon TV show. Will it be coming to the UK?
Yes, absolutely. It's been now in, as I said before, in 15 countries. When I finish China, I still have 4 or 5 countries to complete, and then I quit this because it's already 8 years on the road. Because in every country it's live, so I've got to be there. When I finish China, I will do France, Italy, England, and Spain. So I don't know which country will come first, though, because I handed my format to big distributors, German distributors, and they deal with it. But the answer is yes, and I hope it'll be on ITV.
Good. Right, going back to your psychic life, your spy life, rather. Did you meet other psychic spies? And if you can say so, who impressed you the most? And of the psychics that you met?
Yeah, well, look, when all of you who are listening will see the documentary on my website, and please get the book from Amazon. It's not an expensive book, and it's worth reading because it's so, it's so mind-blowing. Just shows you what the governments and big secret agencies like the National Security Agency and outfits of that nature did with people who were intuitive and remote viewers. But I've done quite a few missions as a spy for different agencies, which I won't mention which, but the book kind of subliminally refers to all of them. You don't meet other spies. It's like a compartment. You don't know who is the other person you're working with or working or getting help from, because it's so top secret. So I just never actually met another psychic or paranormal spy. What I do know is that when I was being tested at Stanford Research Institute by the CIA to validate my powers, indirectly I believe that I set up the program for the CIA, which was called remote viewing, which was led by Dr. Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ. There were different remote viewers from around America, and their task was to send their mind through space and time and bring back valid information.
I see.
One of the, there are many missions that we've done, but one of them came out a kind of in an indirect manner. It was top secret, and the story goes like this. A Russian plane with secret information on board crashed in Africa, in Zaire. And although we have amazing satellites that can film and take pictures, once the satellite is obstructed by clouds, or like this plane crashed under the jungle's canopy, so satellites could not locate it. And this was under President Carter's presidency. Anyhow, to make a long story short, President Carter was lecturing in a university after he resigned, and a student asked him, President Carter, did anything weird or strange or paranormal happen while you were the president? And he said, yeah, a Russian plane crashed in Zaire and a psychic found the plane for us. So that's how that top secret story got out.
Right.
But then I was also asked, I don't want to sound boasting or showing off, but some of these weird missions I had, one of them was to bombard the Russians, a Russian negotiator, to sign the nuclear arms reduction treaty. So I was briefed in London by Ambassador Max Kempelman, top secret meeting. Then I went to Geneva with the head of the American Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Claiborne Pell. I got really close to Yuri Vorontsov, the Russian negotiator, and bombarded his mind by simply telepathically instructing him to sign. I said, sign. And they signed. Of course, I can't claim that it was only because of me, but I certainly believe that I was an instigator, that I played a major role in that decision.
Okay. It was at this time, did you feel like you was being treated like a guinea pig with all the tests that you went through?
Oh, absolutely, especially at Stanford Research Institute, because I was a showman. I wanted show business. I wanted to be on Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas and Johnny Carson. And when I did the Johnny Carson, I actually walked into a trap, because Johnny was an amateur magician, and he set me up, and I can't say that nothing worked. The spoon bent, but it wasn't enough for him. And I sat there for 22 minutes, humiliated, and the only thought that was kind of in my mind, Uri Geller, you're finished, because, everyone said if you get on Johnny Carson, it's the biggest show in America. And I planned on getting back to the hotel to pack and go back to Israel. And after this humiliation, I went back to the hotel. I was devastated. I fell on the bed and fell asleep. And in the morning, the operator wakes me up. And she says, Mr. Geller, I have a Merv Griffin on the line for you. Now, Merv Griffin was as big as Johnny Carson in television land. And I couldn't believe it. I said, is it right? Is it really you, Mr. Merv Griffin? And he said, yes, and I saw you last night on Johnny Carson, and I want you on my show this week. And that's when I realized, Susan, that there's no such thing as bad publicity.
No.
As long as they spell your name correctly, and it all goes back to what Oscar Wilde said 100 years ago, that there is only one worse thing in life than being talked about, and that's not being talked about.
Sounds a good philosophy, that one. Now, going back to the chat room, we've got some questions for you again. We've got Doc Savage, as we call him, John in Minnesota. He would like to know a bit more about your psychokinesis, and where did you first realise that you was able to do it?
Well, the first time that I discovered that I can bend a spoon was when I was about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
The spoon bent. I was eating soup in our little kitchen in Tel Aviv, in our kind of shabby apartment, and the spoon started bending and broke in half. And that actually gave me the idea to later on to create an act out of it. Because you see, I'm a show-off. I used to show off in school. I wanted all the kids to see this amazing talent I had.
Yeah.
I thought that it was a natural thing that, other children played better football than me or basketball or played the piano, and I could bend spoons. And even today, I'm amazed how I drove it into world culture. People like Johnny Cash sing about spoon bending, Kenny Rogers, the movie The Matrix. Remember there's a little child who teaches how to bend a spoon. Keanu Reeves walks into the Oracle, and it's all about spoon bending. Robert De Niro just played me in a movie. My name is mentioned in Woody Allen films. So I'm just totally amazed that a rather trivial, although iconic spoon bending became such a worldwide hit, especially with magicians.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are hundreds and hundreds of magicians that do spoon bending much better than I do it.
Yeah.
And I'm very flattered and very pleased that I brought something weird and bizarre into the world, and hundreds of thousands of people imitate Uri Geller.
I must admit, my first sighting of you was when you were bending spoons.
Yeah, that was,
and it was very
probably the day. I don't know how old are you?
Oh, you really want to ask that?
Yes, how old are you?
I will be half a century this year.
You sound like a teenager, and I bet you look very young. So you do remember that show? It was the David Dimbleby. David is still around.
Uh-huh.
It was 1972.
Yes.
And it was a huge show because it was right after Miss World. So everyone was watching.
Yeah.
And I did something that I've never done before. I looked into the camera and I asked everyone in England and Scotland and Ireland and Wales to get their spoons and bring them to the TV set and bring along broken watches.
And I did.
And watches came alive and spoons bent, flew off television sets, and the next day I was the most famous individual in England.
Yes.
All the papers carried headlines, Uri Geller puts England in a bend. And because then there was no internet, there was no Twitter, and there was no Facebook, and there was no emails.
No.
So every country wanted me to come and show this talent on their television shows. And that's how I started traveling the world and blowing minds of millions of people around the world.
I remember a while back, I can't remember exactly, but 90s or 80s, I saw a program where you had this, was it a Cadillac that was covered in forks and spoons and stuff?
Well,
it was fascinating.
I was rather shallow in the early 70s, meaning, I wanted to show off to my friends that I made it. So I went out and bought a Cadillac.
Yeah.
In 1976, Fleetwood, beautiful car, but I never drove it because it was so huge. Yeah, Fleetwood Brougham. And when I came to live in England, when I left New York, somebody offered me $800 for the car. I said, no way, I'm going to bring it to England.
Yeah.
And while it was sitting in my garage, I got this idea of riveting all my spoon collection to the body of the car, and I collected spoons for 4 decades. I've got spoons that Elvis gave me, John Lennon, Muhammad Ali. I've got spoons that belong to prime ministers, presidents, kings, and queens. The mascot was given to me by Salvador Dali. It's a sphere, rock crystal sphere. And it's now going to museums, and I raise money for charity with it.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, nice.
There are pictures on my website. Again, my website is urigeller.com.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 very unusual documentaries on it. The BBC's The Secret Life of Uri Geller, and another one which is actually in America on Hulu.com, but it's also on my website, and it's called Uri Geller, A Life Stranger Than Fiction. And I really urge you to get the book from Amazon, because you will find it very, very, very unusually interesting.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. Now, going back to John in Minnesota, he also would like to know, you mentioned the watches recently in the last in your last answer. He was wondering what items have you been able to move, and would you like to know? He would also like to know more about whether you was able to make a watch speed up and slow down.
Look, in the last 4 decades, I've done so many weird, again, and bizarre and strange things. There's no doubt in my mind that I slowed down watches. I actually stopped the Big Ben twice.
Wow.
And in Stanford, I could move a 1 gram weight. It actually levitated off an electronic balance. In the documentary, The Secret Life of Uri Geller, you can actually see that experiment. And also, there is the Stanford Research Institute film is also on my website. That's a half-an-hour scientific movie. And I think you'll find it extremely mesmerizing, because in 1972, in the early 70s, it was very unusual to be tested by a government body like the CIA. So to move objects with the power of the mind is much more difficult for me than to bend metal. And that is the truth. So that's the answer.
Right, okay. Now we've got another one here for you from Chris. He's most of us are paranormal investigators, just to let you know, but he's from SPI. He would like to know, how do you manage to keep such a positive mental attitude along with a positive state of mind in this hectic world?
Well, because you see, I am very controversial. You all know that. I've been called many different very nasty names throughout my career by some skeptics are really terrible in what they said about me. But I very quickly learned that I can use that controversy, the negativity, because I'm a master publicist, and I say this shamelessly. I know how PR works, and I knew how to twist those negative, controversial debunk Uri Geller to my advantage. And I did it very cleverly. And through all that, I had to keep a positive mind. I had to be motivated and inspired to be successful. But I'm also, remember, a spiritual individual. I'm a believer. I'm a religious man. I believe in God. So I empowered myself with call it the forces of the universe, meditations, affirmations, my family. I have 2 great children. Daniel, who lives in New York, he's a lawyer, and Natalie lives in Los Angeles. She's an actress. Fantastic wife. I've been married over 40 years, Hannah. I've got amazing friends, and then I've got millions of fans around the world. So I extract their love, and I can feel it. It's an energy. It is a tangible force. Remember, all of us are attached to each other with an invisible spiritual thread. You can't see it, but it's there. So I thrive from that. I collect that power, that energy, and I try to give it back. I have a Facebook page, so I get emails. I get 300 emails a day on my BlackBerry. My email address is on my website, so people find it very easily. And believe it or not, I answer them. It's not a secretary that answers them. I try to answer most of them. And that's the answer to your question.
Okay.
Be a positive thinker. When I get lots of emails from teenagers.
Yeah.
And I'll give you just an ordinary kind of request. Oh, Mr. Geller, we saw you on television last night. Can you teach me how to bend a spoon? My answer is immediate. This is my answer. I write back, forget spoon bending. Instead, become a positive thinker, focus on school, believe in yourself, create a target goal to go to university, never ever smoke or touch drugs, and think of success. So really that is my message today. Wherever I can, I spread it.
Good. Sounds good to me. Now, you went back to the fact that people were talking about you and said nasty things. Just how much of what people have been saying is actually true, Uri?
Well, look, some of the things that were said were so libelous that I had to pick up the phone and call my attorneys, my lawyers, and sue. Because you can take that much, but hey, when it's a really, really terribly libelous remark, the people who will do that, and if they do it in the press or publicly, I'll go after them, because I will not allow such rubbish to be said about me. The BBC actually did another documentary called See You in Court. This is not only about me, it's about people who sued people or sued the media. And you can probably find it on YouTube if you just put Uri Geller See You in Court. Then you will see what type of libelous remarks were said about me.
Right.
So that's my answer. Most, the things that when they say, we don't believe in Uri Geller, is just another good magician or a trickster, I don't care about that. I'm way beyond that. I'm really talking about very hurtful things.
Yeah. Do you think obviously, we've heard a lot about celebrities like yourself in many different genres pertaining to the paranormal, mediums and such. They do get a lot of stick. And when it comes to people like yourself, do you think people are scared and they don't want to know, or they're trying to push it away, sort of thing?
I didn't quite get your question. Do you mean mediums who are afraid, or?
No, we've noticed that we've had friends of ours that are mediums, celebrity mediums, that have had this sort of animosity.
Well, look, I'll tell you just a good example. Sally Morgan was libeled somewhere. I won't mention now.
No.
Patients. And she called me and she said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, if it's not true, sue."
Yeah.
And guess what? She won.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was £100,000, but she was vindicated.
Yes.
And so, because I'm not a medium, and because I don't talk to the dead, and that's not my thing. Yes, a lot of mediums are rubbished all the time. I don't know who out of all the mediums are real and who are charlatans. I don't know that. But I can tell you this. At the end of the day, if you are being rubbished or nasty things are said about you, just forget it and get on with your life.
Yes.
Because the skeptics are just a very, very tiny minority.
Mm-hmm.
I call them molecular nothings. They're kind of insignificant in the bigger picture. Come on.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, just open any newspaper today, any magazine today, any internet site, you will find a horoscope, a zodiac thing. You will find a billion psychics doing tarot cards and crystal gazing and whatever. But there are, I mean, you can't, no matter what skeptics will say, they will never, the mediums and psychics probably will never ever disappear. They've been there for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So the skeptics are really constantly on, this is my opinion, really on a sinking ship non-stop all the time.
Yeah.
They really achieve nothing. Maybe, look, some skeptics do good things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I can't bear myself when I hear a charlatan healer, for instance, taking money away from poor people who, you know, they lie to.
Yeah.
So, in some instances, psychics do good things, and some skeptics also do good things. But to start a war with them, it's not worth it. Let them just spell your name correctly, and that will be good publicity for you.
What I actually meant was, Uri, is do you think that sometimes people are scared of the truth? Is that why sometimes they are a bit negative?
I don't know. I think the people who do not believe are basically closed-minded. That's it.
Yeah, well, this is it.
Closed-minded.
Yeah. One question we've had for you on the chat room. What do you think of James Randi?
Well, I have to send him 100 bouquets of flowers because he created the legend and the mystery and the mysticism around Uri Geller. He was acting almost like, and this is obviously coming from me and my opinion, but to me, he was an unpaid publicist.
Yeah.
Because the more he talked about me, the more he mentioned me, the more the forums talked. Everybody was outraged about Uri Geller. The more the mystery kicked in. Why is everyone talking about this guy? I mean, if they wanted to kill me off, all they had to do is ignore Uri Geller. Forget him. But they didn't, because most of them probably didn't know how PR works and what publicity, how priceless any publicity is good. There were some times where things that were said, I had to again call the lawyers in.
Mm-hmm.
But in the bigger scale, in the big picture, I owe Randy a big thank you. I met him maybe 2 or 3 times, and actually the last time I met him was when David Blaine did some feat in New York, and I saw Randy there, and he was wearing a long kind of robe, and I thought, okay, now is the moment to walk up to him, shake his hand, and tell him, let's forget everything. Let's shake hands.
Yeah.
So I walked there to him, and I said, Randy, hi, this is Uri Geller, and I stretched out my hand for a handshake. And I said, let's forget everything between us. And he didn't want to shake my hand. He didn't say anything. He just turned away. And I said, Randy, I have my hand stretched out to you. Why aren't you shaking my hand?
Mm.
And he turned his head towards me, kind of looked from down upwards, and he says, because I hate your guts. So
okay.
that summed it up for me. You know? But so that's it. It's even not, for me at this point, from this second, it's not even worth talking about.
Okay. Right, we'll come off that. John in Minnesota would like to know if you've ever done any work with a Russian lady by the name of Nina. I've lost it now.
Kulagina.
Yeah, that's the lady. She's got the same gifts as you.
I know of her, and the stuff that I've done with her, I can't really talk about.
No, that's fair enough.
But she was an amazing I don't know, psychic, paranormalist. She had incredibly powerful psychokinetic powers. A lot of people tried to expose her, and they said, "Oh, that's how she does it. Here, we've got it on film. We got it in that." But I know things that she's done, not publicly, that were quite staggering.
Yeah. Okie dokie, that's Doc's question answered. Andy would like to ask about your UFO encounter as a child.
Well, you know, this is a great example of how skeptics try to sneer at this story and make it that I've met extraterrestrials and I come from a UFO and I'm having lunch with aliens and all that. You know, they try to denigrate you. The skeptics tried and tried and tried and tried, but they failed miserably.
Yeah.
Basically what happened is, and this is exactly the way it happened, I cannot remember exactly how old I was, 5, 6, or 7. But I was playing in an Arabic garden, and I heard kittens cry. And as a child, I wanted to find them, and suddenly, in front of me, from out of nowhere, I saw a sphere of light, and it was strobing. I just looked at it, and then it zapped me. Something like, almost like a laser beam, hit my forehead. And it was so powerful that it pushed me into the grass. I don't know how long I lay there, but then I ran home to tell my mother, and she didn't believe me. She thought I was either making it up or I dreamt it. But I know it happened. And so I've written about it quite a few times in many of my books.
Yeah.
I spoke about it on television. I spoke about it on radio. And lo and behold, about, I don't know, maybe 9 years ago, there was another documentary about me, a lot of documentaries by the BBC, called, it was a biographical documentary. I can't remember what it was called now. But that documentary played in Israel, and in which I talk about this encounter. And I get an email from a retired Air Force officer and says, "Mr. Geller, my name is Abrahami, and I'm telling you that I saw that sphere of light and I saw you, because I was a young soldier, 23 years old, walking down Rothschild Boulevard, and I passed your street, Ahada'am, and I looked into the garden, and I saw this little boy with black hair, white shirt, and this huge sphere next to him." And then it describes how I ran home, and this sphere followed me and kind of exploded on the entrance of our apartment building. And to me that was vastly important, because it was the first time that someone was validating the story that I was telling for so many years that was so fantastic to believe.
Right. Okie dokie. That's that question answered. Right. Do you, Doc Savage would like to know, do you still do remote viewing?
Well, when you read The Secret Life of Uri Geller, I think you will deduce yourself whether I do it or not. I can tell you, yes, I do it, but I will not mention to whom.
Okay.
And it's not only me. I'm not unique in remote viewing.
No. What actually is it, Uri?
It is just people who can be trained to heighten their intuitive energies, forces, powers, call it whatever, consciousness, intuition, and bring back information through space and time. By the way, when you say Doc Savage, is this the Doc Savage that I read about sometimes? You have a website. Am I correct, Susan?
On my website.
Well, there is a Doc Savage out there that is very much in the paranormal field. I think from Scotland. I might be wrong.
No. Doc's, it's just a nickname we call him because his surname's Savage, so we call him Doc Savage.
Because there is a Doc Savage very much in something to do with paranormal or the mysterious. So I thought maybe that was him.
No, that's not him. Sorry. But talking about Doc, and
Doc's laughing.
They're laughing now. John, my brother-in-law, and Doc John. His name's John as well, you see. That's why we call him Doc.
Okay.
They both want to know simultaneously a joint question here. What do you do to relax, and how do you keep your gift tuned in?
By performing, I do, even in a restaurant, I would bend a spoon. Yesterday I was in London and I walked into a Greek coffee shop, and the guy recognized me because my television show, The Next Uri Geller, played 11 weeks in Greece 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he was so excited that he brought me a spoon, and I bent it. So that was almost an exercise. I exercise it that way.
Yeah.
I meditate, I walk in the fields, I live in a very beautiful village right on the River Thames, and we're not flooded, thanks God. And
Good.
but I walk for miles and I exercise, I have a little gym in my house, and I sit on my exercise cycle for about 40 minutes, bringing my heart rate to its target zone for my age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a positive thinker, I do visualizations. I believe in the power or in the law of attraction. Yes, that's all. That's the way I live. I have no plans. I have no agents. I have no managers. I have no PR people. I have no secretaries. My brother-in-law, he helps me out. That's how I live, and I'm very, very happy this way. I used to have offices in New York and secretaries and all that, but then I thought, I was very, I had a very tough time in New York because I couldn't handle success. I was finding oil and gold for countries, and I was earning a lot of money, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I became bulimic, and John Lennon directed me to live in Japan. So I picked up all my belongings. I took my wife, my mother, my 2 children. They were toddlers then, brother-in-law, and we flew to Japan, and I disappeared into a jungle right under Mount Fuji. And I would probably still be there. I will live there in a year in the middle of the jungle. But my children had to go to school, so I had to leave Japan. And the reason I'm saying this is because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've had my ups and downs, and I've learned so much from that.
Okay. Now Andy's come in and he's asking a question. First of all, we'd like to thank you for answering the question about the UFO encounter, because he's never actually heard you talk of it.
Yes, but let me just finish that. I don't know what that encounter was. No. Was it a UFO? Was it a spiritual encounter? Was it a geophysical phenomenon?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but it did happen.
Okay. And he wants to ask you another question. He said, "Who won the next Uri Geller?" And it should be shown on UK TV.
Well, in every country there was a winner. I've done the show. I started it off in Israel, then it went to NBC in America, and then Germany and Holland and Sweden and Greece and Turkey and Hungary, and and every country had a winner.
Uh-huh.
But because the show, The Next Uri Geller, is entertainment,
yeah,
I don't really want to know how the performers do what they do.
Right.
I want one thing and one thing only. I want the people at home to go, wow, how did they do it? And in every country there was an amazing winner. In Holland there was a 13-year-old girl who won. And yes, when I bring the show to England, I wonder who is going to be the winner here.
Yeah, well, he said it should come to England. He said it'd be good.
Thank you. I agree with you.
Yeah. Right, John in Norfolk, that's my brother-in-law. He would like to know, did you enjoy appearing in the film Sanitarium, and do you plan to appear in any more?
Well, I'm not an actor.
No.
But when I was asked to do that piece in Sanitarium, yeah, it was weird. The film is crazy. And I see it all the time on eBay, and you can actually buy the film off the internet. Yeah, I enjoyed it because I did something that I don't do. I don't act. And also, when I had to sing for charity, I did Stars in Their Eyes. Can you remind me who was the host of Stars in Their Eyes for many years?
There was Leslie Crowther.
What's his name?
There was Leslie Crowther. There was Matthew Kelly.
That's it, Matthew Kelly.
Yeah.
I did it with Matthew Kelly when he was a presenter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asked to sing, and I said, "You must be kidding me, I'm not a singer." And then they wanted me to be Charles Aznavour, and they chose one of the most toughest songs called She. But it was a challenge, so it was the most horrifying and most worrying, most nerve-wracking television show I ever did in my entire career. To sing in front of millions of people. So sometimes I do things that are kind of quirky, but because they pose a challenge. And I also enjoy doing Celebrity Get Me Out of Here. Well, I did the first one, by the way. And I was the first celebrity ever to eat a creature. And I'm a vegetarian, so you can imagine how I felt. But I knew I was doing it for charity. The money went to charity. So I knew that I had to put my morality on hold for a few seconds.
I really enjoyed watching you in that, I must admit. So, and I'm sure a lot of other people did, because it's something that puts you into a different environment, doesn't it? And people see you for what you really are. Exactly.
But today the celebrities, I believe, get tremendous amounts of money.
Yeah.
And so it's partly they do it for money, partly for publicity. If anyone asks me, celebrities call me up and ask me, "Oh, Uri, we've been asked to do ITV Celebrity Get Me Out of Here, but I don't know if I want to do it. It's not." I tell them, "Come on, you're crazy if you don't do it."
Yeah.
Because it puts you on the map in a big way, and then the financial gain from it, beside the fee that you get, really comes after the show, because then they approach you to do commercials and shows and lectures and so forth.
Yeah. Now, just to go back to your the next Uri Geller, I've got another question here. Can you just clarify, was the show about finding a real psychic or not a stage show psychic?
That's a brilliant question.
Yeah.
When I'm asked that question, my answer is the following. Because it's entertainment and it's not scientific, and we're not looking for any psychic superstar like Uri Geller, that's not my quest. My quest is to entertain people, and I'm an entertainer. Now, whether you believe in what I do or you don't, that's not my problem. And that's how I wanted to create my show. I was not the person who chose the entertainers. So whether they were real or not, whether they were paranormalists or mentalists or magicians or illusionists, I didn't care. I always said that what you're about to see, we're not claiming any supernatural powers. This is entertainment. I don't know how they do it, because I don't. I'm not a magician. So I don't know how most of the acts, I honestly didn't know how they do it.
No.
I sat in the chair amazed and mesmerized, exactly the way the people at home were. And to those of you who might be magicians and are listening to this interview, I've got news for you. I have never ever in my entire life read a magic book, and the only magic show I've ever seen was Siegfried and Roy, because I missed my plane in Las Vegas and I went to see the show. So I'm not a magician. Maybe I created an act and I created amazing things, mentalism and so on, but I'm not a magician. So when these people performed in front of me, it was good that I didn't know how they did it. I was thrilled to see an amazing, entertaining act, and the people at home were the judges. I give the verdict on what I think I saw and what I believe, how entertaining it was, and I cover their personality, their charisma, their character, their stage presence, and I give a verdict, but it's the people at home that choose the winner.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's great. So you've explained that bit. Now, you bought a place called Lamb Island. Do you still have it, and why did you buy it?
Oh, Lamb Island is an amazing, amazing place. Because it was not expensive, so that's the first answer. And for that, the money I paid for it was just ridiculous. So I thought, wow, I mean, I can now, claim that I'm part James Bond because I own my own island. But the island has links not only to the pyramids, but also to King Arthur, King Robert the Bruce, and to the ancient kings of Ireland too. Now, it might seem forbidding, and it is certainly uninhabitable, but it is also one of the keystones to British mythology, and I'm just thrilled to be its owner. The connections to myth can only be understood by tracing ley lines. Susan, I don't know if I'm sure you talk a lot about ley lines.
Yes.
And these are mysterious kind of invisible paths which dowsers claim to be able to sense as kind of flowing lines of energy. Now, ley lines link most of the world's significant archaeological sites, such as Stonehenge, the pyramids, and the great temples of Southeast Asia. They are kind of connected to powerful religious societies from long ago, such as the Knights Templar. So I made a lot of research about this island, and my research indicates, and there's a guy called Nisbet who realized that the three islands, one of them is mine, Lamb, are arranged in precisely the same crooked line that marks the layout of the pyramids at Giza, and that was built by the pharaohs 4,500 years ago. So I want to believe that 5,000 years ago, Queen Scotta, who was the pharaoh's wife, sailed to North Europe, and she moored outside Lamb Island, and she buried treasure on my island, and I would like to find it. So whether, I'm just imagining this, but this is a theory, and hopefully if I get permission by the Scottish Heritage, I'll start digging there. But it is an animal sanctuary, so you can't build there. You can't live there.
No, this is it. Okay. Right, a couple of more questions before we let you go, my love. First of all, is there anything in hindsight you wish you hadn't done?
Well, the one tragic event in my life is killing a soldier in war, but I had no choice.
No.
If I didn't pull the trigger first, I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Yeah. Okay.
This was in the 6-Day War.
Yeah.
But that Jordanian soldier is in me now. He's in my soul. He's embedded in my psyche. He's my brother, and no doubt I will meet him someday. And so, if I have to look back at things I regret, obviously, that is one of them. And I do have reoccurring nightmares and so on because of that. But hey, that's how life is, and I just want to say goodbye now to everyone who tuned in and listened, and thanks for your questions. And just to remind you, let me just plug a few things. My book is called, it's not my book, it's Jonathan Margolis' book. It's called The Secret Life of Uri Geller. Get it from Amazon. The two documentaries, The Secret Life of Uri Geller by the BBC, is on my website, including another one called Uri Geller, A Life Stranger Than Fiction. And my website also carries my email address. So if you want to email me and ask me something, I will email you back.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, just one more thing. We know that you've got a few things coming up in the, what's name? Are there any plans to return to the US for any events?
You mean if I go back to America for a show or what?
Yeah, is there anything in America you're planning on doing?
Yeah, I'm really focusing on China now because for me it's a big deal. It could be between 100 to 500 million viewers, and I've got to get things right there. So my focus is more on China, and there's no doubt that once that show is over, I will be coming back to America to do more things.
Okay.
But yes, you're right. I've been a long away from America for a long time, and I just did a lecture to a big group of magicians in Florida. It was called it was a Genie Award or something like that, and I was amazed how many magicians actually give me so much credit and actually like me. So it's not true to say that most magicians dislike Uri Geller. I was amazed to get so many standing ovations by magicians. And I want to believe that I brought in mentalism into the world in a big way.
Okay. So,
all right, Susan, it was a pleasure speaking to you. And
I have one more question to ask you from a friend of mine, Roy Basnett.
Okay.
I have a friend called Roy Basnett. Yeah, he's on Radio City. Yeah. And he's asking me to ask you, would you do some work for him sometime? Come on his show.
Yeah, of course. Where is his show? And
he's in Liverpool. He's a radio presenter, and he's asked whether you'll go on City Talk. I think it's City Talk, but
of course, no problem. As long as he calls me, and we'll do it over the telephone. Absolutely.
So I'm okay to pass your number on to
Absolutely.
you? Okay, thank you very much.
Look, my love to you all, whoever you are out there, and sending you lots of good, positive energy.
Okay, Happy New Year to you, sir, and thank you again for taking time
You're welcome.
to talk to us. Please, if there's anything that you want us to advertise for you, just let us know, email me, or you can come back on the show, of course, and tell us anything, update us with anything you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, God bless you.
Good night. God bless.
Good night, Uri.
Right, okay.
Just write it down for me.
2 seconds. There you have it.
Mr. Uri Geller.
What a lovely interview. And he seemed alright, didn't he? Let me just
I
here you go, it's at the top there.
I had the feeling that he didn't really want to talk about the spy stuff. I think
No.
it's something that he doesn't really want to talk about, that kind of area.
So is Roy listening?
He was on. He's on tonight, and then I said, "Sorry, Roy, we're on tonight talking to Uri Geller." He went, "Can you get?"
Okay, so he's working as well, and he's asking questions from the studio. I don't know. Well, I hope we got all your questions in, people. I tried my best, and so hopefully everyone got it. And just to let you know, we are recording. Fingers crossed. So, what do you think to that show? Did you enjoy it? Did you really enjoy it? Come on, give us a ring. Tell us what you thought. You can call us on 0844 414 3982. Tell us what you thought about the show tonight, and what you thought of these answers. Okay, and everyone's saying it's great. Come on, let's hear from you for a change. You're our listeners. We need to know what's going on in your head, what you think of our show, and what you think to our guests. Don't forget, if you have anyone that you'd like to recommend for us to have on the show, then please get in touch with us, or at admin@ktpf.co.uk, or if you can, put a link on the KTPF Community Talk Show Facebook page or group page. Okay, and we'll see what we can do. Yes, Andy, I'm waiting for you to give me a date, dear.
Yeah, it is quite impressive. Of all the things he's done and all the things he's doing, he doesn't actually have any staff.
No, he doesn't. I don't know. He had somebody there that could have been his son or something.
Yeah, well, he did say about a member of his family helps out from time to time.
Yeah.
But all the PA stuff and everything, he does it all himself.
Yeah, Chris said, you don't really want to know what's going on in my head, Sue.
Oh, why not?
So, but there you go. Oh yes, probably have to be around Eater now. Around Eater. I would love to pick his mind more about Nina, but oh well. Well, yeah. He said he hadn't worked with her, and just to reiterate, Andy, he doesn't talk to spirit. just in case you missed it, he did say that he saw a dog in a friend's car, and the dog wasn't there because he asked where the dog had gone. He's not a psychic medium. He's a psychic spy. So,
yes, the more remote viewer, really.
Yes. So
apart from any other things he can do, he's supposed to be able to affect computers.
Mm-hmm.
There is a rumour which he will not say yes or no one way or the other.
Okay.
That when the Israelis did the raid on Entebbe, that he actually affected the Egyptian radar because they flew right across Egypt to get there.
I see. So, well, if you want to go and have a look at his site, if you haven't already done so, it's Uri Geller Uri-Geller.com. Okay, and apparently this website could change your life.
Yes,
for the better, it says.
But he does it without touching the computer.
Yeah, so there's quite a few things on there. I'm assuming they're videos. Chris said Clint Eastwood on Death Afterlife and Uri Geller, The Secret Life of Uri Geller, Uri on Coast to Coast. So it was quite an interesting interview, and I hope that he was happy with us. I press buttons. Stop pressing buttons. So thank you for your questions. It was all helpful to our interview. Right, it's bedtime for me. Great show night, everyone. Okay.
Good night. Good night, Debs. And night to Lee as well.
So don't forget you're coming on this year to talk about Reiki. You promised. So as I say, it's been a good interview, hasn't it? So, yes, and as I say, next week we have Stephanie, which I've forgotten what her name is.
Yeah, what's Stephanie talking about?
I've lost her name. Hold on. Stephanie Brody, I think her name is. Stephanie Bodies. She's talking about a book, The House at Pulteney Road. The true ghost story of my family's supernatural experiences, which occurred in a haunted house with pain and one man's fight against evil. So that's what we're talking about. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it could be quite interesting. I mean, isn't evil a matter of perception?
I think it is. Depends how you look at it.
You
think about it. When we go on ghost hunts, how many people say, "Is anything going to get me? Is it evil? Is it this? Is it that?" I think it's the way you take it.
Yes, I mean, why would anything that you would pick up in your normal stroke ghost hunt investigation? Why would that be anything evil?
So Andy said it never happens.
And
Andy, Doc Savage says happens a lot in our towns. On their tours. Most first timers say that on Invest. In all the years, no one has ever been hurt directly.
No, I mean, we've had people being pushed and prodded and stuff like that, but and we had one lady that was violently sick.
Yes, very much sick.
But she's only there 5 minutes. She's only in the first video, wasn't it? But she was okay. But that's all that's ever happened.
Yeah. So, right, okay, it's time for a break.
We've got all the news right here. Don't go away.
Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. Yeah, well, as we mentioned before, there's a lot of investigations and psychic nights going on at in the Melton Mulberry area. The Six Hills Hotel in Melton Mulberry. There's an investigation there on the 18th of January with paranormaleye.uk.co.uk, and Tony Stockwell's still doing his tours. On the 23rd of January there's Blackpool Zoo Ghost Tour, and let's see who that's with. That's with supernaturalevents.co.uk, and you can go and have a look at what that's doing. As I said, Molly O'Grady's in Leicester. There's paranormaleyuk.co.uk. They're doing overnight ghost hunts, and also throughout February they'll be doing psychic suppers as well. So look out for them. On the 15th of February, you've got the Victorian House, Bridlington. And who's that with? Let's have a look. That's with fromtheotherside.org.uk. And UK Shadow Seekers, which is Steve and myself and the gang. We're at the Museum of Transport in Manchester. 21st of February, Blackpool Tower. This time you can go with sas-pi.co.uk, and that's Chris, who's on the chat room. So on to the 22nd of February, you've got the Galleries of Justice, and let's see who's going there. Paranormal Eye UK again, so they seem to be doing a lot. And also don't forget, in March there is a Paracon 2014 in Ireland, Belfast. So if you want to learn more about that, just link on to paranormaleventsforyou.com. So check out the one-stop paranormal directory for more investigations and events available now. Paranormaleventsforyou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. Paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. There you go. That's what's going on in the next few weeks. So, but what's going on here in the next few weeks? We've got quite a few people coming on, haven't we? So let's have a look, see who we've got on. Just to remind you all. Yes. Let me see. We know who's coming on next week. And the week after that, we're talking about numerology with numerologist Michelle Abo. She's an American. She's also an author and an inspirationalist. So there'll be something interesting. I've just noticed that Andy won't be with us next week, unfortunately. I don't know. He hasn't said. On the 2nd of February, we'll be talking to British Paranormal Research Group about the ethics of the paranormal. And on the 9th of February, we've got Ryan Gooding coming back on the show, that psychic medium, gypsy young lad from Essex. So, yeah. And then on the 16th, GC UK are coming in to talk to us about their group. So, I think I've also got that gentleman coming on as well. Let me just double check. Just find out when he's coming on. Let me see. 2nd of February. Yeah. What did I have on the 2nd of February? I think I moved her over, actually. What? Oh, sorry. Actually, skip that on the February. I just remembered. Actually, on the February one, 2nd of February, we've actually got Barry John.
Yeah, you're confusing, Chris. Is that the 16th of February? So next week.
We're talking February. 2nd of February, we've got Barry John on, and then there's a guy coming on from America, and I can't remember his name. Let me just find it. I can't remember what he was talking about either. Got my mind.
When's the guy talking about the Mars stuff coming on?
That's the one I'm on about.
Isn't he coming on with his mate?
Yeah.
And the two of them coming on there.
Yeah, it was to do. It's him that's coming on the 2nd.
Yeah, the guy that says that the thing on Mars is not a rodent, it's a rock.
I can't remember. Oh, here we go. The Mars Codex. That's what we're talking about. February the 2nd. So I've got to sort that one out. And let me just double check on my Facebook messages, because I had to shift the British Paranormal Group for that one. So I shall just double check. But yeah, that should be interesting. We'll have to have a look at that. So, won't we? Yes, Steve.
Yes, dear.
We're having one of them nights.
I was reading away.
Was ya?
Yes. About rocks on Mars sounds fun. Says Andy.
So,
Well, they have apparently proved that at one time there was water on Mars, and so that being the case, they're saying that it could sustain life of some sort.
I see. 19th. Right, let's move her over to the 19th.
But if you see any green flashes in the sky, stock up, arm up, and get ready for a fight, because the Martians are coming. Ain't it? It's your favourite.
I'll put her there. She's coming on next week by the sound of it. I better double check with her. Double check where I am. So, sounds fun, he says, question mark. Right, next week we're doing ethics, I think. But we're definitely doing the Pulteney Road thing, the ghost stories. It's the 2nd of February we're doing that Mars Codex and Barry John. Okay, Chris? So, I shall just go through my emails and check. So what did you guys think of Uri? Do you believe what he says? My philosophy is, to be honest with you, and we've had this come up recently, yeah, we hear so much about people, we like to find out for ourselves. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, if I don't know enough about a certain thing, then where am I? Why should I comment on it? If you can understand.
I think all the spoon bending and everything. That's obviously that's showmanship.
Well, I actually thought
like
it was the warmthness in your hand. You know, you rubbed it and it warmed and it loosened it or something and bends.
Yeah, but what I was watching on the thing you asked me to watch.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually hold both ends. He only touches one side of the spoon.
Oh right.
He doesn't give it that because that makes it quite easy to actually bend things if you that way. But as far as the psychic spine stuff, we've heard of this. We all have. The Russians were doing it first, and the Yanks, and of course we was in there as well, all doing the viewing. So yeah, why not? It's quite possible that he was involved in that, but without the necessary information, which he's not willing to give us.
No. We've got to take his word for it.
We have to take his word for it.
Well, look at Tony Toppin.
There's gonna be a lot of stuff that is still classified, which you can't talk about. If he was involved.
Tony Toppin comes on the show and talks about his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it sounds far-fetched.
It does.
But
hard to believe a lot. But
you know,
he's experiencing these things.
It's the same with other stuff. You know, people come on the show. You know, we've had people talking about chemtrails and stuff like that, and it's their beliefs. If that's what they believe they're doing, or that's this, that, and the other, you can't take that away from them. You know what I mean? You know, they're on the show to give their beliefs. Sometimes we sit here and think, what a load of, you know, baloney.
Sometimes I sit here and think, Fruit Loop.
You know,
but there's always, no matter how nuts I think the person that's talking on what he's talking about is, there is always something from that I can take.
Yeah.
There's always something that has a ring of truth to it. Whether it's the way he's looking at it is right or not is beside the point. There's always something I can take from it.
You know, but as I say, it's like Doc said, he thinks he's more a showman. Yes, he admitted himself he was a showman, but he's obviously doing this, it's like a job, isn't it, really, this psychic stuff, psychic spying.
Yeah.
He's doing a job for the government. in whatever area. You
Yeah.
know, Ireland, not Ireland, Israel, Mexico, United States.
Yeah, I mean, all the things that they've said he actually did, we know it happens. And if he has that talent, why wouldn't good governments try and use him? Especially the Israelis, considering he is one.
I'll be honest with you, I think it's all down to fear. I really do think it's all down to fear. You know what I mean?
Fear.
People don't want to believe this stuff.
No, a lot of people don't want to believe because it opens up too many doors. That's the problem with most of the paranormal. Once you've opened the door, where'd you go?
Andy's just asked him whether he's still doing it or was it past tense. I think this is something you don't stop doing, to be honest with you. I can't remember if he said that or not.
Well, apparently he was, in his words, according to the documentary, he was reactivated when 9/11 happened.
Right.
And so was a lot of viewers.
But I think that's what it is.
From across the world.
I think that's it. They sit back and do their own thing, and they're reactivated when they're needed.
Yeah, they get called upon from time to time, but when something big happens.
So, you know, but
yeah, I agree there, Andy. You have to start challenging your basic belief systems. The problem with that is that our belief systems, especially religious ones, are so ingrained in people that they just do not want to let go. Isn't it?
Yeah. So, did you give Roy his number?
I did. He said, "Great stuff. I'll get in touch this week."
Can you just ask him? Does this mean he works Sundays regularly now? Because that means he won't be able to come on the show. So, when you enter the realm of the paranormal, and that scares some, it does scare some. And Chris was saying each person has a right to believe what they want. Some are, same as most of us within the paranormal. So, but yeah, it's you know, why didn't you come in? Why didn't you talk to us? Why didn't you give us a ring and tell us your views instead of me reading them? You know, 0844 414 3982.
Yeah, step outside the realms and give us a call.
Yeah, where is his show? I don't know. Where's his show?
But Royce, he's
Royce.
He's on Radio City 96.7.
Yeah, he's just doing a normal.
I think he's doing what we're doing, to be honest.
Is he?
I think so, yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's why he wants Uri.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he was doing that again. Oh, don't tell me he's taken over. He's gone back. Yay!
I think he has, yes.
So,
go back to his old show.
Has he gone back?
Yeah, Chris said yes, he does. He's got his old show back, I think. The looks of the sounds of it.
Ask him if he's got his own show back. And then say, well done, but we've lost you. So, but, I don't know. Must have a listen. But as it is, at the same time as you guys.
It's you have to wait a while for him to get back to go.
Yeah, because he's obviously
I think he's actually on air now.
Yeah. But anyway, so I suppose that's us now. That's us finished. So we've told you what's coming soon.
Yes. Now we shall say goodbye to everybody. And
yes.
Remind everybody to keep the paranormal friendly, and then we can tune into Roy.
No, I'm going to go and watch Sherlock. It was quite funny when you were doing your observations. Yeah. Just as you started, the TV was on a bit loud, and the music sort of like came in at the same time, and I thought, is he playing music? And then when I went in there, I had to turn the TV down.
That's all right. I was when I was watching the Uri Geller thing. Some music came on that, and I thought it was my phone ringing.
Did you notice though, he never mentioned anything about Michael Jackson?
I'm glad he didn't.
Why?
Well, I didn't particularly want to go there.
In fact, when he mentioned spoons, he didn't actually mention he got one from Michael Jackson. He mentioned Elvis though. So
yeah. I mean, this to be honest, to my mind, he talked so much rubbish about Michael Jackson. when he does talk about him, and I wouldn't want to ask questions about it.
That's your opinion.
Yes, that is my opinion. When people talk in general about Michael Jackson, especially the ones that loved him, they talk so much claptrap.
Mm. Well, Chris said he was going to ask about MJ, but steered clear. Dun, dun, dun.
If you had a done, we would have asked the question.
Yes, we would have done.
We would have asked the question. It's just that I'd have zoned out for a couple of minutes.
Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and I must admit, after all the hype and talk about it on the over the week, I was surprised we didn't have as many as we did.
Yeah, I was all the people that said they were going to tune in. Very few of them did.
Yeah. So, but don't forget.
But I would like to thank Doc, because he actually cancelled a couple of things to make sure he was on tonight.
He did, bless him.
Thanks for that, Doc.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We appreciate
and we'd also like to thank everybody else, Chris and Andy and John and Lee and Debbie.
That is.
Lee and
Debbie and Susie for trying to get in. So, and anybody else out there who's listening.
And all the people that popped in and out to listen along the way.
Yeah, so, because I did notice that there wasn't many in the chat room, but there was more people viewing.
Yes, there was.
I noticed that. So, so that's probably how we find out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, anyway, so until next week.
This is where it's at.
And hopefully you'll join us, and
our usual crew was with us.
Yes, they were. So, and don't forget, we do like to hear from you as well. So why don't you ring us up and give us a shout? So,
I don't know. We're gonna have to. You'd have to have a look, Andy. I think it's online as well.
But as I say, it's we'll have to have a look.
Yeah, I do hope you can join us, Chris. We will be here.
Yes. So until next time, all that is left to say.
He said he's covering a big show at the minute.
Oh, is he? All right. So it's not. Oh, he's covering the big show.
Yeah.
Did he say?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He said he's covering a big show at the moment.
Oh,
at
right.
the minute.
So, but that's where you'll find him now, and he's on live. So until next time, what looks like, I don't actually know what's actually going on at the moment, and what is actually on Radio City. It's a bit pink, isn't it, that?
Well, the light on there.
It's a little bit pink.
What else you mean?
No, them. On their website. So.
What, Radio City?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
I'm just looking. Late Night City Live video feed. It's not really telling us what it actually is.
John said, wow, that is pink.
That is pink, isn't it? Oh, well. Well, anyway, until next time, thanks very much for listening. And don't forget, we are about on Facebook and everything.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
And if you want to contact us at all, you can contact us at admin@ktpf.co.uk if you ever want to send in questions to ask if you can't make it. And also, if you want to refer or recommend anyone to talk to, we can try and get hold of them.
Yeah, just send us.
If you are a paranormal group,
just send them in who you'd like us to talk to, and we'll do our best.
Yeah,
as
and
usual.
If you are a paranormal group, we'd really like to have one on a month to talk about themselves.
Yes,
and,
we would like at least one on a month.
Come on and explain what they do and what they don't do. Okay, so no, I've not heard anything from him, unfortunately. Dan Aykroyd. I'll try again though. But as I say, it's let me just have a look on my Twitter, see whether he contacted me on there, and I haven't got a thingy. What do I call it?
A notification.
An Udima flipping. Right, let's have a look. Just while you're there, I have no messages, unfortunately.
Chris said he sent a few messages and he's not had anything back yet.
Okay, well, thanks for trying anyway. So, you know, if you can try it and get people to contact us if they're interested, that'd be great.
Why not? And he is interested in the paranormal.
Why Danak? Apparently he's interested in all this. Isn't he, Steve?
Yes, he is.
So, you know, it says here on his Twitter account that he's a comedian, actor, screenwriter, musician, winemaker, and ufologist. There you go. So, okay. But don't forget, we don't just cover UFOs and ghosts and stuff. We want to hear about cryptozoology, weird things like Star Child projects and Mars stuff, and, you know, conspiracy theories.
Yeah, we want to cover a vast area of the paranormal field. Get people talking about things.
Yeah. So, you know, but as I say, until next time, thanks for joining us again, and I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're going to listen on radio replay, I hope you enjoyed the show as well, and maybe you'll join us live one evening on a Sunday night, starting at 8:30. That's GMT. Okay, so it's 20:30, 100 hours, or whatever you call it, GMT,
That's what we
Greenwich
call it.
Mean Time. So until next time, whoever it is on Radio C is welcome.
Well, I just clicked on what's on now, and apparently it's Pete Price. So maybe he's taking Pete Price's place tonight.
Perhaps he's covering. Even anyway, until next time, good night and God bless.
To see in the night, to measure the spike, to see how cold it's been. I buy my kit so I won't forget the ghosties that I have seen. The Paranormal Intelligence Gathering Services Ghost Store. So visit www.the-pigs.co.uk/ghost store.
And remember, keep the paranormal friendly. Good night, everyone.
Night, guys.